Yes, the Daily Ticker brought to you by our great friends at Pelican Brewing Company. It is survival of the chillest, so Pelican's beach beer brewed on the coast to bring the beach vibes to you. Available now at your local grocers. Visit them, Pelican Brewing. They've got multiple locations. It is an important Daily Ticker because it's a Josh Pate Thursday.
Yes, it is, Bob.
One of our favorites, the commissioner of college football himself. He's going from Kay Adams to Dirt Sprague, which is quite a downgrade, I would say.
I mean, in physical appearance, I would say we're an upgrade, but, to each their own.
That's your opinion. Josh Pate joining us now, college football, one of the best voices in the sport. Find a show on YouTube, and as he mentions every single time, it is free to hit subscribe. He has great content out there. He's on Twitter at Josh Pate, CFB. Good morning, Pate State University. We have a media question to ask you first to start everything off. We were talking about the college football media Mount Rushmore. It is Lee Corso's final weekend doing game day, so kind of a two-parter. What did Lee Corso mean to you as a college football fan and sports fan growing up, and who is your Mount Rushmore of college football media?
Oh, boy. No, this is not controversial at all. Well, Keith Jackson's on it for me.
Yeah.
Corso's actually on it for me. Brent Musburger's on it. I was a big Braves fan growing up. So Skip Carey is not a name you would hear nationally, although he broadcasts Braves games on TBS.
Mm-hmm.
But Skip Carey was very formative for me. So if I'm carving the mountain, I've got to put Skip Carey up there. But yeah, I'll put Lee Corso on it. However, I do want to just, in the interest of talking media for a second, I do want to mention, do either of you find it a little, what's the word, insulting or just maybe upsetting that it is Lee Corso's last headgear pick on game day, and most of the talk has been about whether or not Dave Portnoy is going to be on the pregame show in a stadium on Fox? Let me tell you, if there's an executive on Fox that had this as the design, hat tip to him. It's sadistic work, but hat tip to him if that was the goal over there.
Yeah, that was the thing. I said the first moment that news came out, I thought there's something more to this. This is trying to steal some headlines. They're both going to be in the same building. They're both on the same campus. It's the biggest game of the weekend, or campi, even though it's not plural, but I'm trying to impress you. And that was the goal there. That was a media blitz from Fox to try and steal away some headlines. But I don't think it'll work, man. I think would you? Because I know you're going to be on campus and in the stadium and all that. If you're watching at home, would you shed a tear watching the final Corso headgear pick?
Yeah, so I was talking to the people at Ohio State because I don't know how many people who are listening have ever witnessed this in person. When game day and or Big Noon is at a noon kickoff show, Eastern time, they do their show on the field the last hour. You've probably seen that on TV, but the vantage point I have, because I'm in the building usually on the field, is you can see both of the sets. They're both in like respective corners of the end zone. And so I've talked to both networks this week. My question for Fox was, are you guys going to acknowledge Corso in any way?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to, but I don't know how. And then on the Corso side, I really think that there will probably, from an operational standpoint, be some attention paid to that set, that ESPN Game Day set in the stadium. So I don't think I'll miss it. I think everyone's going to see it to some degree. I'll have to go back and watch the replay to really soak it in. But that's I'm going to talk about it on the show tonight. I'm going to reiterate some of what I said in the spring. Think about Lee Corso if you were to have told him at age 50 that the 25 most impactful years of your football life are still to come. Because he had been in coaching for 3 decades by that point. And to tell him, hey, man, your most impactful days on the sport of football are still to come, he would have thought you were insane.
Mm-hmm.
He probably thought, oh, I'm out of coaching. What am I going to do? Well, that just shows you never really know. Just keep showing up to work. You never know what's going to happen. And you know what? Let that be a lesson for the two of you as well.
Just keep chopping wood, baby. We keep showing up every day.
Josh Pate is our guest on Twitter at Josh Pate CFB. Catch his show. It'll be tonight. He's going to have a lot to get into as week 1 is here. Week 0, a little teaser taster, and now week 1 is here. We got a lot of great matchups that he is going to discuss on his show tonight. Catch him on with Bussin' the Boys as well. We're supposed to do a preview on Clemson today because we're doing our top 12 countdown. My co-host does his 12 college football playoff teams. Clemson is number 2 for him, and so I actually don't know how far in a prediction state he would have Clemson going. I think Clemson's going to the national championship. What say Josh Pate about this year's Clemson group?
Wow. Well, sorry, I'm leaning over to get something out of the cabinet. What say me is that's a lot of confidence in a team that can't really run the ball all that well.
Not yet.
Right. Pregnant pause. Yeah, so that's my big question with them. They get LSU week 1, so we get to watch a big-time matchup. Frankly, I'm asking that question about both of those teams. So Clemson, I don't have many big questions about their personnel. My only question is their personnel that much better this year than they were last year? Because remember, no one's just saying, I think Clemson could be a playoff team. Everyone's either saying they're going to be a bust or, the buyers of Clemson are saying they can win the national championship. Well, to be able to do that, you got to be able to level up from what they were last year. And sometimes in college football, returning starters ends up being this stat that convinces people that everyone's going to magically get 15% better just because they return for another year. I mean, they got gashed at home against Louisville last year. They did not have a big win last year. And what also concerns me, it sounds like I'm down on them. I'm not. I'm just trying to pick apart maybe a national championship prediction. What worries me is they were very selectively explosive offensively. I think we did the stat on the show the other night. They were a top 20 team in terms of explosive plays per game. There were 5 games where they had 9+ explosive plays or something like that. Or maybe that was backwards. But they had a lot of explosivity in totality. You zoom into their 3 games against SEC opponents, they go 0-3, and they were 14 of 40 on third down. So my concern is that was just, it happened to be SEC teams they played, but really just replace SEC team with good team, high-level top 10 team. They didn't scale their performance. So if they can't do that again this year, they don't get exposed a whole lot because they're playing in a weak conference. But eventually, if you get to the playoffs, you do have to face quality competition. So that's what would concern me about that. But then I'll just let you save your breath. I'll make your rebuttal for you. But if not Clemson, where are all these elite teams out there that are definitively better than them? Well, that's a good point you just made. That's a very good point.
Thank you.
Should have your own radio show. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
I don't know. That's why I'm not just swinging the sledgehammer on anyone's prediction. I hope no one does that on mine. I don't know. That's why God is going to have us play the games, and we're going to sort it all out. But, look, it could be that Dabo pulls a miracle this year. It would be the biggest I told you so in a long time in the sport. Or it could be that you find yourself after a few weeks saying, why did I buy into Clemson? This is just more of the same.
That was a wonderful counterpoint.
Thank you. I really put a lot of effort
into
that
You
one.
battled hard there.
Absolutely.
I'll give you 1 point each for your debate there on the debate stage. Now, speaking of predictions, you made your playoff and season predictions on how it would shake out. The emotional damage that your prediction would cause me, I don't even want to begin to calculate how long it would take me to recover from that. Probably months, more so than weeks and days. So for those who haven't seen it, how do you explain your playoff picture and what it looks like in the championship? And then on that note, I think your friends at FanDuel have lowered the over-under on the Oregon Ducks, I believe, down to 9.5.
9.5. Yeah.
Sub 10, 10.5, which is where it's been most of the offseason. How does Josh Pate feel about that Vegas movement?
Should I feel appreciative or disrespected that they do that? That's a big partner of mine.
Yeah.
I throw the pick out there, and it's almost like they say, oh, yeah? Well, we'll prove it. Prove you feel that way. I guess I should feel confident. So I assume, for those who are listening that don't know, you have taken a little umbrage and you're very hopeful that I'm wrong on the prediction of Oregon making it to the title game. That's not the bad part. The bad part would be facing Kalen DeBoer and losing to him. That's the part that upsets you?
Yeah,
Yep.
that one would sting, just to say the
That'd
least.
be 0-4 against Kalen DeBoer.
Look,
in
just
the
losing a
landing area?
title game is painful. I've seen my team do it twice. It's not a fun experience to have, especially when you're in the airport the next morning, but the losing coach would make it even worse, for sure.
Yeah, plus 0-4 against Kalen DeBoer rhymes enough for Washington fans to put it on T-shirts. So we cannot have that happen.
No.
However, I'm predicting it to happen. I watched those two teams practice. Those are the last ones I went and visited before the prediction. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I made that prediction. I don't know. I just believed in them. I mean, like I said a second ago, there's just no slam dunk to me. You're trying to pick. I equated it to the Nashville skyline the other day. I don't know if you guys heard that. I looked at college football, and I said, it's going to be a complete disaster this year in a good way. And the reason is because it's like the Nashville skyline when you try and look at the top 10 or 15. There is no one building in downtown Nashville that's infinitely taller than every other building. They're just a lot of buildings that are 40, 45, 50 stories tall, and they all look roughly the same height. And it could be any one of them that, if you're looking at the skyline from a mile away, it could be any one of them that is actually the tallest one. That's how I feel the top 10 is going to look this year. And it is one of those years where the lie that people have told for a long time, which is, anyone could win the title. Well, it's still a lie. No one could just win the title, but there are several more teams that realistically, if everything went right and turnover luck and injury luck was on their side, could thread the needle and make a run.
Josh Pate is our guest here. We have him every Thursday at 7:40. Josh Pate, CFB on Twitter. Give him a follow. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. I remember hype for quarterbacks recently and throughout my life in college football, Josh. I'm sure you do too, especially ones that had started the year prior coming back for another season. The art stuff just feels a little different. Like you can give me a lot of names and rattle them off and say, remember this year, that guy. And I'll say, yeah, the art stuff is we've seen him in spots. We've seen him start just a couple games. It's as through the roof as I've ever seen. What do you make of the arch noise going into week 1 against Ohio State?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. People keep talking about the arch hype, arch mania, and stuff like that. And I don't see it. And I'm in college football every day, so that sounds insane. I'm not actively participating in it, and I don't watch most of the mainstream shows. And I think that's why I'm missing it, because I assume the mainstream shows, anytime they're talking college football, it's just dominated with Arch Manning. But that stuff's useless to me. So I don't really consume any of that. I consume the more in-the-weeds stuff you actually learn something from and are actually entertained by. Those shows, first off, they're normally year-round. So anyone who's doing a year-round college football show has gotten very tired of talking about Arch Manning until he plays a full game, until he actually is a starter for a full game. And that's me as well. So when I talk about Texas, I did my game preview the other day, and I went back and looked, and we were like 8 minutes in before I mentioned Arch. That, to me, is how I look at Texas. That's how I look at this game. So I guess it's like there's a hurricane making landfall somewhere, and I fled inland by 1,000 miles. I'm just not impacted by it. There are blue skies above me, and I'm looking on the news, and everything looks terrible.
That's a smart thing to do when it's hitting land. Last one for you, Pate. Week 1 is fascinating. Great games. We all know about Texas and Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, the showdowns that will take place. Maybe it's tonight because of your playoff prediction that you made. What's the game that's not getting talked about as much this week that you're most excited to see how it turns out?
So there are 2 of them that both actually happen to be tonight. One of them is Nebraska-Cincinnati. That one is what we're moving our show up an hour for. So, that one's got Nebraska in it. I've got Nebraska in the playoff. I cannot, in strong enough terms, state to you how badly I need Nebraska not to suck tonight. So I need that to come through. And also, everyone's made their playoff picks. Everyone's got to have a G5 team in the playoff. Which G5 team did you guys have in the playoff?
Oregon State.
I went with Boise because I don't know anything about the other ones.
Okay, that is the extent of most people's research on the G5. And I'd be lying to you if I said I was Mr. G5 research over here. So I got Boise in as well. They are a 5.5-point favorite tonight on the road against South Florida in Tampa. The game kicks off, I think, is it 2:30 your time?
2:30, right in the middle of the afternoon.
Yep.
So who in the world plays at 2:30 in Tampa on a Thursday? So I just want to circle that game as well.
Okay.
All right, good stuff. We can't wait to hear about Oregon State after they whoop Cal this weekend in the Group of 5 conversations when you bring them up. We appreciate it. Pate State University, the commissioner of college football. He's blown up this year in a way that he never has, but he's doing a great job. Catch the show live tonight on YouTube. It is free, as he mentions. Hit subscribe and catch him everywhere. He is on every network, literally, and he's on our show every Thursday at 7:40, on Twitter at Josh Pate CFB. Safe travels. Have a great show tonight, and we'll catch up with you next week.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, there we go. Good stuff from Josh Pate, the commissioner. Controversial Mount Rushmore there at the end with Skip Carey.
Yeah, he went with a local angle. I'm assuming Skip Carey called Georgia games or something. Did he do national college football stuff?
I'm guessing because he Braves guy, but that's
it might have been down south. They had a regional network that was like Jefferson Pilot or something like that did.
That had to have been something you grew up
games,
watching and a guy that you loved hearing from.
Was that for his way of getting out of the controversial 4th selection? Is
Probably.
just I'm going to go my own guy and stay away from the whoever you guys are debating.
Probably. We're getting a lot of Gus Johnsons that got texted in.
See, Gus is more college basketball than football for me.
But how long is now, because I agree with you when I think of him, how long has he been out of the college basketball game?
Maserati Mariota. He just kept doing that with M names.
Maserati. God, if Oregon loses to Alabama in the national title game.
Washington making a shirt that says 0-4 against DeBoer is primo, like prime marketing.
I mean, that's pretty solid. He also was the next great coach in your program's history and then left.
It's just funny trolling.
I mean, it is funny. It is. Yeah,
care about the rebuttal by Oregon fan, like 0-4.
What if Jed Fish goes 6-6 this year?
Look at you. You're all pissed off now.
I am. I'm getting angry. I'm lashing out emotionally.